This is the story of the first time my first husband, who was the father of my children, asked me out. I was an art student. I'd gone to England in 1982 as a 19-year-old, and I was just doing the usual Australian thing, travelling overseas, and I took up 4 courses, and one of them was art at the Byram School of Art in London. And there I put together a portfolio to get into art school in Perth. So I went back after two years, and there was a visiting lecturer who'd come from Britain to Australia and was touring Australia doing a lecture series, and he was talking at the university, and our teachers told us we should go along. So it was a dedicated art school, not the university one. And so we all went to all of his lectures, and gradually I noticed that he was noticing me. And so I would sit in funny spots at the back and things to see the change of expression on his face when he finally spotted me in the audience. And I remember he would kind of look around and then smile and look down with this wry smile. And eventually he talked to me after one of the lectures. I could hear the professor with him, who was walking with him. I was walking in front of him on the way out, and I could hear the professor was nudging him, going, "Go on, go on, go on." So he came up and asked me what I thought of the lectures, and had I read it before, or did I think other people may have heard it. And and then he asked me out to dinner, and at the time I had been driving my father's Rolls Royce around to art school, and I told him that I couldn't keep driving it to art school because it was a ridiculous thing to do, and didn't respect the car because I was putting bags of plaster and sculpting materials in the boot, and I felt it was like ruining this sort of incredible piece of machinery that was so beautifully detailed. And so he got me another car. Eventually sold his Rolls Royce, I think. And we'd already organised that, but I was still driving the Rolls Royce. We hadn't picked up the Volkswagen for me to be able to lug up art supplies around in. And because Peter was a very well-known socialist, I was insisting that I couldn't possibly pick him up for dinner driving the Rolls Royce, so we had to organise for the new car to come. And and so I picked Peter up at the university. He was staying in the university rooms. And we went out to dinner, and at the dinner, I don't know, somehow age came up, and he asked me how old I was, and I was 21. Yeah, I was 21, and he was 35 or 6, 5 or 6, 36 I think. And I said, well, really, I thought you were 28. And he said, well, I thought you were 28 as well, which was quite funny. We wouldn't have actually gone out with each other if we'd known what the age difference was. The first time we went out to dinner. And then he did something really quite clever, because I wasn't sure about this, such a big age gap. Obviously incredibly interesting man, but he wasn't divorced yet. He'd been separated for 4 years, and he had a child, so it seemed like quite a, not necessarily a great idea. But then when I dropped him back at the university, I was kind of wondering what would happen, and he just jumped out of the car. He just kind of said, okay, bye, and just was off. Didn't even turn around and wave or anything. And that was a very good tactic. It was a tactic, evidently. And of course that changed my mind completely. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought I'd be the one to, make the brush off or hard to get stance. So naturally we did go out again, and he said, are you going to invite me back to see your etchings? And I had no idea what that meant. Like, I didn't know that it was a lewd art phrase that meant something quite different. So I started talking about etchings, probably, because I did have some etchings. And then he was only there for about 2 weeks, I think, and then he was going to Sydney. So we arranged to write to each other, and for me to come and visit in England in May. And then that was it. We were married a year later. Very happy time.